friends, welcome back. My name is Anna and this is Tales from the Craft Room. I am so glad that you stopped by and I hope you will enjoy what I'm going to do today. Now I'm going to say this is not a tutorial. I am not showing you how to do this. This is not my pattern. This is somebody else's pattern. I will put a link to the pattern down in the description box below for you guys if you want to check out the pattern. But I have been in the preemie hat making mode for a while now, and I have established my delivery date for the preemie hats, and I'm trying to get some more done because, you know, I did initiate this. I have had some individuals bring in some hats that they have made to add to my collection, and I am excited for those as well. I do plan on doing a video showing all the preemie hats and the preemie octopuses, which I haven't made any of the octopuses. They have all been donated, but showing all of those that I plan to take to a local Ronald McDonald house. So right now I am using, this is some leftover cotton. This is all that I have left. I had a nice sized Ziploc bag that I believe sister brought me many moons ago of some cotton yarn. Yes, I am making preemie hats out of cotton yarn. And this is all I have left. I had like orange and green and blue, yellow, purple, pink, like a pinky color, and then the red. So this is all the red that I had. And then I also grabbed some of this. This is something else that sister brought me. I can't read any of this because I don't speak anything other than English for the most part. I know enough of some languages to be dangerous, but this is some yarn that she got. It is super soft. I believe it's, I'm going to say it's probably a cotton. It's some sort of blend because it says 60%, 30%, 10%, and then 10%. So I'm guessing it's probably a cotton acrylic blend or acrylic nylon blend or something like that. I do have another color with me that when I finish this red, I want to make some yellow ones. And I do have this one. This one is actually, sister gave me this one as well. This actually says milk cotton, but this is acrylic, but it is super soft. So I'd like to make some out of this. I'd like to put some of these two together. Thought about putting the red and the blue together, but I think I'll go red and yellow together just because it's brighter. But yeah, so anyway, I'm going to be making a preemie hat. Hopefully I can get all this accomplished. I probably will be interrupted because I am actually sitting at work. And yeah, the crochet hook that I use, this is one of the crochet hooks out of my Denise interchangeables for the Tunisian crochets. This is a size G hook. I did not have any G hooks in my bag, but I did have this, so that's why I'm using it. And like I said, this is not a tutorial. I'm not telling you what I'm doing, but if you can figure it out and follow along, that is great. And if I don't talk, it's because I'm concentrating. I don't plan on putting music to this one because I have seen, not on my channel, but on other people's channels saying how they dislike the background music. Yeah. So this is also kind of thing to see how long it actually does take me to make a full preemie hat. I know I will get it done. I think it takes me a couple of hours. Probably with multiple interruptions because it's only like 5 or 6 rows. It's not very long at all. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I will say that the pattern that I'm using came from a Ronald McDonald house. Not my local one, but it was another Ronald McDonald house that had requested hats that sparked my interest in seeing about making these hats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12. And I will also state that all of my preemie hats that I've made, some of them are not so small. Some of them are like, I made a couple that are just barely fit on my 3 fingers. I mean, that would be like the 1 pound preemie. I think the size that this turns out is like the 3 pound preemie. But I will state that all of my preemie hats that I have made so far have all the tails woven in. I went through and I did a bunch of them all at once. Of the previous ones that I did, most of what I needed to weave in was just the finishing tail, because the beginning tail I just crochet over it. But yeah, I've been trying to do those as I weave them, as I finish the hats, because of the short amount of time that I will have the hats. Now, preschool hats, like I said, I'm not too concerned on making those at the moment. I do have one started. I did take pictures of before and after, and it is two mom hats that I've recycled. I'm keeping the same yarns together. I've not mixed them, but like I said, I took pictures of the hats before I unraveled them, and then I took pictures after they were frogged, unraveled, whatever you want to call it. And then with the first hat, I took a picture of the hat with the leftover yarn. The second hat I'm really struggling with finishing because I do not like the colors. I am about halfway on the hat, and I will pick it up and do like a row at a time and put it down. So yeah, I'm struggling with that one. But when I do get it done, I plan on making a video to show the process of, well, I didn't, take a video of frogging the hat, because we all know how to frog hats, right? Or frog anything for that matter. But, the hat and what came from it, and then the finished product. So far, with the first hat, I had leftover yarn. The second hat that I'm making, I'm not sure that I will have leftover yarn, but we will see what happens. I'm sorry if I was getting that out of your way. We'll see what happens by the time I get to the end of the hat. So far, it looks like I'm going to be fine, but I have some of my own yarn that wasn't in the hat or the previous hat on standby just in case I need it. I think I need to get my tape measure out. I'll show you how I do this. I measure these because different hooks and different yarns tend to make a difference on the size of the hat. Uh-oh, did I miss one? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How do I do that? I did that last time too. 1, 2, right there. Last time with the last hat, I made it work. I put extra stitches in, so I had enough stitches. But anyway, the original pattern says to use an H or an I hook with worsted weight yarn. You can't do that. That makes a newborn size hat. Well, granted, they do need newborn size hats, but preemie size hats is what they've asked for. Which, preemie size hats, it boggles my mind. My goodness, they are so small. I can't imagine a baby being that small. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. Bingo, I got it this time. But yeah, so I've been playing with different size crochet hooks. I think I've made a hat with a size F. I think that's what the little 1 pound preemie was made with. But I've been swapping up my hook sizes, which all of the ones I've done with the cotton, I've done with this G hook. And they come out to be about like a 5 pound, I think. And we'll measure here in just a minute. And I'll get my little handy dandy chart out so we can see where we're going. But I've been trying to do the smaller ones because I think I've made quite a few larger ones. Just, you know, learning and getting an idea of what I was doing. But now that I've got it down, I don't have to really look at the pattern anymore. I just kind of go by size, like measuring the top of the hat and then comparing it to the chart that I have to see how long the hat should be. I'm talking and not concentrating. So that's what I've been doing, among other things. I've been working on other projects as well, just not, you know, quickly enough to make videos about what I've been doing. Been doing a lot of other things. We did get our air conditioner fixed at our restaurant, which is super exciting. We've been over 2 years without having a good running air conditioner, and it is so nice to finally be able to be cool. So last night I made and I haven't frosted any of these yet. I'm going to do that this afternoon when I get over there. But I made 1.5 dozen plus like 2 sugar cookies, and I don't make the little sugar cookies. My sugar cookies are about that big around. And then I made what it was 1.5 dozen, maybe it was 1.5 dozen plus 1 of the sugar cookies, and then 1.5 dozen plus 2 of the wacky cake or depression cake or whatever you call it. It goes by many different names, but I make that and I do cupcakes instead of cake, and I put the homemade buttercream frosting on it, same as my cookies, and my people absolutely adore my cupcakes. They say they taste like Twinkies. So yeah, now that it's cool, we can celebrate. We celebrated last week. I made a bunch of sugar cookies last week, but now that it's cool, we can celebrate every weekend with homemade cookies again, because I wasn't making anything that I had to use the oven for because I didn't want to create any additional heat, because it would have just really made it super miserable. And that is not good for customers or us. But thankfully it's still not too bad, too super hot. We've been fortunate to be in the 70s a lot, and this weekend we're supposed to hop up into the 80s. Today's not supposed to be too bad, thank goodness. There's a knot. I did that join, I don't know, surgical join where you wrap it around and tie it and you pull it tight. I thought that was better for the hats because it looks a little better for number 1. Let's see, 1, 2, 1. See, I stopped and talked and I got distracted. That's okay. But yeah, I'm thankful to have the air conditioner fixed because I complain about it, but I do enjoy making the sugar cookies because my customers really enjoy them. All right, now let's make sure I didn't goof. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. Hot dog. All right, let me grab my tape measure, and we'll measure that. And I will. Uh-oh. I'm not seeing my tape measure. That's missing. Oh, hold on. Let me run down and grab the other one off the desk. I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. I grabbed the tape measure off the desk. Handy dandy little chart. I put it in my notes on my phone, and I even put the picture with it. So here's the picture. This image also came from the Ronald McDonald House that I got the inspiration to do this from. And it goes, I don't know if you can see this or not, but preemie 1 pound all the way up to newborn. So this hat is 3 inches, let's see, 3 inches crown diameter. So it's right here. This will be a 4 pound preemie hat. So 3 inches. And then I like to make the hats below the ear. Put this over here, sorry. This is a 3 pound. This is a 4 pound preemie hat. So 3 inch crown diameter. And I like to make my hats where they come down below the ears. But it's 3 3/4 inches height completely. So that's what we're shooting for. 3 3/4 inches. Now let me check this real quick here. This is delivery day. So I need to keep up on that for Steve, so that he knows when the truck's going to show up. Truck should show up in about an hour. Boop. The truck is currently at the hospital. Not, you know, they deliver to the hospital. It's a food truck. They're not, you know, hurt. All right, so we've been going on this for 17 minutes already. Goodness gracious. That's probably what happens when I chat and crochet. So I will probably just start doing some crocheting and stop doing a lot of chatting. Probably not. Won't be too long. It'll be time to join in my yellow. Super excited. So, I mean, I don't know who's getting these hats or where, you know, the baby will even be from that might possibly get this hat. But I will say, and this is not coincidence, this is just because it's the yarn that I have. And these two yarns are approximately the same weight. But red and yellow is not the school colors for the school in my town, but it is the school colors for another school in our county. It's actually a county high school. But like I said, it's not coincidental, it's not on purpose, it's just what I had. Or red and gold, I guess it should be. If I do it for college, we have a community college, that would be red and white. Trying to think. The college is Cardinals. The local high school is blue and gold, and they are the Vikings. And the county high school is red and gold, and they are, I don't know. I really don't know. Sister probably knows. She used to go to school there in grade school. But I cannot. Oh, Grizzlies. They're the Grizzlies. I think that's what they are. I could be wrong. But that sounds about right. Am I going? Ooh, cool. I'm going to finish this row for sure with this red, and then I can join my yellow. Bada bing. Alright. Let's find end here. Gotta wrap that around. I found this. I think this is just nasty. This is a join from the manufacturer. Like, seriously, come on. That is terrible. But, I mean, you know. At least it looks like it's towards the end of the yarn, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Alright, now, if you're not familiar with what I'm doing, I'm not really either, but it works, and it makes a nice. Oh, I will be back. Okay, well, I'm back. That was interesting. Had to answer a phone call with a customer, and while I was up, I noticed that, I was tying that I heard a truck, so I messaged Steve and let him know that the delivery truck was next door to me and that it should be there within half hour, 45 minutes. So the truck's actually early, which it usually is. We've learned that it comes way earlier than they say it's going to. Oh yeah, I just thought of something else I was going to do. I might as well do it on this while I'm crocheting. There, see, that's, you just pull that, and it isn't going to go anywhere. And then you just snip it. Like I said, it's not going to pull. So anyway, yeah, the other thing that I was planning on doing for my channel, and if you guys don't like this, let me know. If you think it's cool, let me know, one way or the other. But it won't be just a video. It will be in conjunction with something else, like when I'm doing something like this, because I don't want to, you know, look like a bad guy. But it's something that it just weighs heavy on me. I kind of find it amusing and annoying at the same time, if that makes any sense at all. But we own a restaurant, and as you know, if you are one of those people who go searching out for restaurants when you're traveling or you're in a different town or whatever because you want someplace new to eat, unless you have an iPhone and you strictly use the Apple Map thing and it takes you to Yelp. We do not like Yelp. Yelp is just, I don't know. I don't have anything good to say about Yelp. But we always check Google. And as you know, people write reviews for restaurants, businesses, etc. that they have been to. Sometimes, being a business owner, I can tell you positively for sure, for a fact, that sometimes those reviews are totally irrelevant. Sometimes it is just the person being, what the word I'm looking for? I don't want to be disrespectful here. Person just being dumb. Sometimes it is the person who has never even patronized that business. They are just writing a bad review because they don't like the business owner, or they got a friend that doesn't like the business owner, so they tell them to write a bad review. I don't know. We know this happens because it happens to us all the time. Now, anyway, back what I was saying. When we go looking for new restaurants to eat at or motels to stay at, we read the good reviews, and then we read the bad reviews, like the 1-star reviews, the 5-star and the 1-star. Now, if me personally am rating something, they're hard pressed to get a 5-star. They have to totally overwow me to get a 5-star. 4-star for me is still a good rating. I mean, anything above a, like, 3 is questionable, but 4 or 5, yeah. But anyway, we read the 5-star reviews or the good reviews, and then we go meander the bad reviews. Now, if the bad reviews are consistent with what they're saying, then we take some stock in, you know, what the bad reviews are say. So if they all say that, you know, I don't know, the place was never open or something like that, then yeah, we would take some stock in that and question whether or not we wanted to try and go there. But a lot of times the bad reviews are hit and miss, and there's very few of them that state the same exact thing the same exact way, if that makes sense. Well, I personally, for my own business, try to not let bad reviews bother me. But I'm thinking if customers are allowed to review businesses and give them negative reviews, well, negative, 1 star is as low as they get, then I think I should be allowed to review those customers that give the business a bad rating and a nasty reply of why. So, with that being said, that was one thing that I was thinking about doing. I thought it's going to be so cute. That is one thing I was thinking about doing here on my channel, is rating customers. Now, granted, I have no clue what these customers' real names are, but most of the bad reviews that we have gotten, if the customer legitimately came into our business, I can tell you exactly what the customer ordered and everything, because they stick out in my mind. I can usually call them when they come in, if they actually do come in, and I will go back and tell Steve, I said, expect a bad review out of this order, just because I can tell that the customer is just going to be that way. So, the very first bad review that we got, and this was before we were at our current location, because we have moved. We're now buying the building that we're in. We were just renting before. But this, I think it was a Sunday afternoon. And even though I am not a people person, I know that sounds weird. I am not a people person, but we run a restaurant. Yes, it's very challenging. I am always polite to my customers, even when they are not polite to me. That is very difficult to do. If you have ever been in customer service and, you know, have dealt directly with customers, or even if you've owned your own business and had to deal with customers, you understand. If you haven't, I hope you still understand that, you know, it is hard to be nice to people when they're not being nice to you. Now, granted, sometimes the customer could be having a bad day. That is something that I don't know. And sometimes the customer is just, for whatever reason, decide they don't like you or your business when they come in. But anyway, this first instance of the bad review that we got was at our previous location. And the customer, it was a fairly large group of people that came in. And this was back when we still had our 2 boys helping us all the time. So it's not like we were short on help. That was not the problem. But the 2 boys were the ones that made the food and did all that. And Mom was the one that most of the time took the orders when we were all there. And took the orders out to the customers, because, you know, you come to the counter, you pay, and then we bring the food out to you. So it's kind of like fast food, but it's not really fast food, because we are not fast food. We're good food. But anyway, these particular group of people came in, and they just kind of sat down in the vicinity of the cash register, because there was a bar that was close to the cash register. We don't serve alcoholic drinks. It's just a bar for people to sit at. And then at the tables that were closest to the register. And then they started ordering while they were sitting at the table. And I kindly said, you'll have to come up here to the counter to order because I'm having a hard time hearing you. Well, that ticked them off. But they did come up to the counter and they ordered their food. And we made their food. I took it out. And some of them ordered nachos. And we had just opened a fresh bag of chips. And this is when we were using, pre-done chips. And now we make our own chips. But this is when we were using the pre-made chips because we had no way to make our own. But we had just opened a fresh bag, and we always, check to make sure, taste test a chip to make sure it's not stale, that, everything's okay. Even if it is in date, it still can be stale if there's a little puncture hole in the bag or something like that. But the chips were perfectly fine. Yes, this centers around chips. All right, that was an interesting customer. But anyway, I can't remember where I was at. But anyway, I think I was saying we always, check our foods. We don't just open a bag and serve it, because even the smallest little hole in a bag that is undetectable can make your chips stale. But these chips were perfectly fine. So I took the order up to the customers, and I went up to check on them, which I don't normally check on customers. Sometimes that little voice in the back of your head tells you, this looks like a circus hat. That voice in the back of your head tells you to, go check on the customer. So I went up and checked on them, and they said, these chips are stale. And I apologized, and I said I would go, get them a fresh one. So I took their nacho, took it back to the kitchen, which in that place, you could see everything that we were doing in the kitchen because it was an open, everything that we served at that time was pre-made. It was like heat and eat. Everything was pre-cooked. We didn't have anything raw that we served. So I took it back to the kitchen. I explained the situation, which we knew we had just opened a fresh bag of chips. So we all tasted a chip again. The chips tasted fine to us. So we went and got another bag. And opened the new bag, tasted them. They tasted just like the first ones. They tasted fine. We remade the nacho. I took it back up there. And then this is where things went south. They were very rude to me, very disrespectful to me. They were literally cussing at me, which we were not the only witness to all this. We had a couple of really good friends who were also sitting in the same area that they were, just off over to the side, not at the tables that they were at, obviously, but off in the corner, like a table or so away from them. So they heard all this discussion as well. But like I said, they were being very rude to me, very disrespectful to me. I was doing my very best to keep my composure and be polite to them without, yelling and screaming and like they were. And I finally just apologized, and I says, let me go get my manager. Well, hubby and I own the business, so who's really the manager, me or him? Sometimes people have issues with females, ladies, for whatever reason. They just, have issues with ladies in general. So I said, let me go get my manager. I went and got hubby and sent him up there. And at that point, when I got back to the kitchen, I was literally in tears. I was saying, we need to call the cops. We need to get these people out of here, because they could hear the entire conversation, because it wasn't that far away from where the kitchen was, because it was a small location. And they're like, no, we'll go take care of this. We'll see if see if we can get it straightened out for you. So here I am bawling in the kitchen. The boys are there trying to console me. Hubby goes out to talk with the customers to see if he can figure out what's going on and talk some sense into these customers. And they just laid into him as well. He was polite. He was about ready to tell them to leave. They asked for their money back. And he just flat out told them no, because they'd been sitting here being disrespectful to his wife and, the employees. They'd eaten most of their food at that point. They kept complaining about the same thing, which he directly told them, we opened 2 brand new bags of chips. We've tasted the chips. We know the chips are not stale. And I don't know what all else went on. It's been so long ago, I really can't remember. But worst case scenario, not worst case scenario, but in the end, it finally came out that apparently they had just been to a funeral, or a family member had just died or something like that. And I resembled the family member. And that made them so upset that they had to be rude and disrespectful towards me. That is not right. I'm sorry. Not even if you're having a bad day, you should not be rude to your people that are serving you and making you food. Not that we would do it, but in some places that could end very badly. Anyway, these customers left. Oh, I better measure that. They gave us a bad review, which is fine. 3. So I need like, how many more rows? 2 more rows, I think. So this customer, I'm going to give them a 1-star review like they gave us, because they were just so rude and disrespectful. They caused more problems than not. And it's one of those things that just really stick in my mind. Yes, these particular customers did complain about their food. We tried to correct the problem. Obviously, we could not fix their problem. But after they'd eaten so much of the product and we'd given them a second one free of charge to replace the one, even after opening another bag of chips, we could not refund their money. I mean, that's just them being too super picky. So these customers get a 1-star review just like they gave us. And no, I won't always be giving bad reviews, because we've had pardon me, we have had and we have some very good customers. So yeah, there is my customer review of the day. This family that came in, a 1-star review because they were rude and disrespectful for no apparent reason at all to me and my husband in the restaurant. And no, we did not call the cops. Our friends were like about ready to get up and stand up for us and help us out, but they did not. They remained calm and quiet in the corner and didn't do anything, which was probably for a good thing. But just because you're having a bad day like that, it's not a reason to give a restaurant a bad review. I'm sorry, I don't think it is. Because trust me, I have a lot of bad days, and sometimes, I'll admit, I do snip at customers, but it's usually when they push me to my limit and I just can't, keep my tongue polite anymore. But yeah, I try not to be that way. But if you push my buttons too much, there comes a point where I have to become like them. So anyway, if you like the custom reviews, and I don't know if that custom review made any sense to you at all, but if you think you might like some more of these, let me know down in the comments below, because I've got quite a few more customers that I could review, both bad and good. And regulars and just one time. We do have an instance where it was a really bizarre. We still don't understand it, but it is what it is. Yeah, I think I'm about done with this hat. I'm not sure how long this has actually taken me. I think probably about a half an hour total, because I've had to break this up in a couple of segments because I've had customers and I had to get up and go check because a truck. Sounds like another truck just pulled up behind him. There's a restaurant right next to us, but it's not ours. Ours is like across the street a block away. Oh, this is so cute. Red and yellow. I'm glad I decided to do the red and yellow instead of the red and blue. Let's measure 3.5 to the top of the ear and 3 3/4 to the bottom. I think I'll stop that one there. That's 3.5. If I did another row, that would make it 4 inches, which would be a little bit too long. So let's just finish that off. Give myself a tail. Boop. Now, as you noticed, I did crochet under. I got a little piece there, but I'm not going to worry about it. I did crochet under my beginning one. So let me grab my yarn needle and we will weave in that tail so it is done and ready to go in the donation. Got my stuff in this handy dandy little mint thing. And I have a magnet on the top that holds my needles, but those aren't the needles I normally use. Most of the time I use this one right here. Oh, and it also has my stitch markers and other random assorted things in there. It's like an Altoids. It's organic type Altoids. They weren't very good. They were all right, but I'm not big on those type of things anyway. I just got them because I thought the boxes were cool. I have another one that's red that was like the cinnamon ones, and it has like a tiger on it, I believe, but I don't know where that one's at. All right, I'll do that. Turn my wrong side out. Another reason I'm kind of excited about donating to Ronald McDonald House is because my grandson was in Ronald McDonald House for a couple of weeks. And then Steve's mom, not his actual mom, it's a stepmom. His mom's passed away and his dad remarried. But anyway, Steve's stepmom has had some of her kids' recently. She has one of her kids had one of her kids' kids. One of their, I think it's a great-great-grand. Maybe it's just a great-grand. I don't remember. But anyway, they had a baby not too long after my grandson was born, and he was actually ended up in the NICU as well. So, bada bing. Let's go snip, snip. There we go. Did I say this was 6 pound? Let me go back and check. Three and a half. Right there. Yep. Nope. This is for a 4 pound preemie. Is what the crochet hat size chart states. So yeah, thank you guys for joining me. I hope you enjoyed watching me make this hat, minus my few interruptions that I had. I'm going to step away and make some more with, I'll probably switch to this and then maybe switch to this. I don't know. It depends on what I decide to do. I'm excited. I made one. One a day is pretty good, but I'll probably make some more. But anyway, leave me a comment below. Let me know if you like my customer rating idea. I love reading your comments. I reply to all comments eventually for now, because I don't get a whole lot of comments that, you know, way overwhelms me that I can't reply to. And if you don't have anything nice to say, please don't comment, because I just ignore those type of comments. Y'all have a good day. Y'all have a great weekend, because I probably won't be back until next week, and I will see you soon.